Hello, we've seen and we've heard about the frustration over San Francisco's homeless crisis. It's made national headlines. And then you have business owners and neighbors.
More than 3 million Americans are now living in vehicles. Rents are up over 40%. Evictions are exploding, and cities are cracking down harder than ever. In this video, we're exposing how America's RV homelessness crisis reached this breaking point and why it's far from over. After 2020, America's housing system didn't just get expensive, it broke completely. Between 2020 and 2025, average rents nationwide rose by more than 30%, while in major metro areas like Los Angeles, Phoenix, Austin, and Tampa, rents jumped 40 to 60%. At the same time, mortgage rates doubled, rising from under 3% in 2021 to over 7% by 2024, locking millions out of home ownership entirely. Wages never kept up with these increases. While housing costs surged, median income only rose about 15% in 5 years. That gap pushed working families into impossible choices: pay rent and skip food, or buy an old RV and survive. Then came mass layoffs. From 2022 to 2025, more than 4 million tech, retail, logistics, and manufacturing jobs were cut across the country. Many workers burned through savings in just months. With eviction filings climbing past 3.6 million per year, vehicle living became the last option for hundreds of thousands. RVs became mobile apartments. A used Class C motorhome that once sold for $15,000 jumped to $30,000 during the pandemic. People maxed out credit cards just to have shelter. This wasn't about freedom or adventure. It was about survival. Entire parking lots turned into neighborhoods. Churches, Walmart lots, and industrial zones became makeshift communities where families lived full-time. By 2026, living in an RV is no longer a lifestyle choice for millions of Americans. It's what happens when housing costs, wages, and economic stability collapse at the same time, leaving ordinary working people with nowhere else to go. Officially, the U.S. government reports around 650,000 homeless people nationwide. But that number hides the truth. It mostly counts people in shelters and visible street encampments. It rarely includes people living quietly in RVs, vans, and cars across America. Independent housing researchers estimate that in 2026, between 2.5 and 3.5 million Americans are living in vehicles full-time or part-time. That includes retirees in campgrounds, families in minivans, and workers sleeping in parking lots behind warehouses. School districts now report over 1.2 million students experiencing housing instability, many living in vehicles with their families. Hospitals report rising numbers of no fixed address patients. Food banks see vehicle dwellers as their fastest growing group needing assistance. Why are they invisible to official counts? Because many work regular jobs. They shower at gyms. They park legally when possible. They avoid shelters to stay safe and together. They don't want attention or trouble. Cities often undercount on purpose, acknowledging millions of vehicles. Dwellers would mean admitting housing policy failed completely. Technology companies tracking RV registrations show a 45% increase in full-time use since 2020. Storage unit rentals near cities are up 60%, often used by vehicle dwellers for belongings. This is a shadow population, working, aging, surviving, without legal housing status anywhere. They exist between housed and homeless, and the system doesn't know what to do with them. They're too stable to fit homeless stereotypes, but too poor to escape vehicle living. Before 2020, van life was an Instagram trend. Influencers showed sunsets, beach parking, and minimalist interiors. It looked romantic and adventurous. But by 2026, that image is completely gone. Today's vehicle living looks very different from social media fantasies. Most RV dwellers now live in rigs over 15 years old, often bought cheaply and already failing mechanically. Roof leaks, broken generators, dead batteries, and mold are common problems. Repairs can cost more than the vehicle is worth. Instead of national parks, people park behind warehouses, under bridges, or in industrial zones. Instead of coffee shops and beaches, they rely on food pantries and public bathrooms. Instead of adventure, they worry constantly about tickets and towing. Social media rarely shows this side. Algorithms still promote freedom stories and beautiful sunsets. Meanwhile, real RV communities deal with sewage dumping, fires from faulty heaters, and dangerous overcrowding. Surveys show that over 70% of vehicle dwellers in 2026 did not choose this lifestyle voluntarily. They were pushed into it by eviction, medical debt, divorce, or job loss. Many sell furniture, family heirlooms, and tools just to afford fuel. Some drive less than 10 miles per week to save gas money. Mental health suffers dramatically. Rates of depression and anxiety among vehicle dwellers are nearly double the national average. What began as a trendy lifestyle became a trap. The dream turned into desperation. The reality is cold, expensive, dangerous, and isolating. Nothing like the influencer videos promised. One of the most shocking shifts in this crisis is who it affects: seniors over 55. Americans over 55 now make up nearly 35% of vehicle dwellers, up from just 18% in 2010. This is retirement's collapse. Why? Because retirement no longer works financially. Social Security averages about $1,850 per month in 2026. Average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is now over $1,600 in many states. Before utilities, food, and medicine are calculated, that leaves almost nothing for daily survival. Over 40% of retirees have less than $25,000 in savings. Medical bills wipe out emergency funds fast. One hospital stay can erase years of careful planning. Many seniors sell their homes after divorce, illness, or spouse death. They think an RV will be temporary shelter. It isn't. Campground fees have risen dramatically too. Monthly RV parks that once cost $400 now charge $800 to $1,200. Seniors get priced out and moved to street parking. Older RV dwellers face unique risks: limited mobility, heat sensitivity, medication storage problems, and dangerous isolation. Emergency services report rising deaths among elderly vehicle dwellers during heat waves and cold snaps. These are people who worked 30 to 40 years. They followed all the rules. They saved when possible, and still ended up homeless. This isn't about poor choices. It's about a system that promised security but delivered poverty instead. Retirement became an illusion for millions who trusted it would be there. Perhaps the most disturbing reality of 2026 is this: millions of homeless Americans have jobs and work regularly. According to labor surveys, nearly 45% of vehicle dwellers work full-time or part-time. They are warehouse workers, delivery drivers, nurses' aides, teachers' assistants, and security guards, people doing essential work. In many cities, a full-time worker earning $17 an hour makes about $2,700 per month before taxes. After taxes, maybe $2,100. Average rent, $1,500 to $1,900 monthly. The math doesn't work anymore, so people sleep in parking lots and go to work in the morning. Some hide their situation from coworkers for years out of shame. Amazon warehouses, hospitals, and resorts now have unofficial RV communities parked nearby. Employers know. Many say nothing because workers are needed. Commuting from an RV adds significant costs: fuel, repairs, insurance, gym memberships for showers, and storage fees for belongings. Monthly survival expenses often reach $800 to $1,200 on top of existing debt. Many workers live one breakdown away from complete disaster. If their engine fails, they lose transportation and housing at once. This is modern working homelessness, not laziness, not addiction, not crime or bad choices. It is what happens when full-time work no longer guarantees a place to sleep safely. It's what happens when America's promise that hard work ensures basic security becomes a lie. Millions now understand this firsthand every single night. By 2026, many American cities have stopped tolerating RV living and started actively targeting it with aggressive enforcement. Over 400 cities and counties now enforce strict vehicle habitation bans, overnight parking limits, and no camping ordinances designed to eliminate visibility. In places like Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix, Austin, and Miami, RVs are prohibited from parking on most residential streets between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. Some cities limit parking to just 72 hours before forced relocation begins. These laws are often justified as public safety or neighborhood protection measures, but enforcement disproportionately affects poor and elderly RV dwellers with nowhere else to go. Fines range from $75 to $500 per violation. Multiple tickets in 1 month can exceed $2,000, more than most vehicle dwellers earn monthly. License plate. Scanners now track RV movement between neighborhoods. Cities use surveillance systems to identify repeat parkers. Once flagged, vehicles become permanent targets for enforcement. Many areas have created RV exclusion zones near schools, parks, hospitals, and downtowns, eliminating most safe parking spaces entirely. Even legal parking areas are shrinking fast. Retailers like Walmart and Home Depot have reduced overnight parking by more than 60% since 2020, fearing liability issues. These crackdowns don't solve homelessness. They just move it block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood. For many RV residents, every night has become a negotiation with law enforcement. Sleep lightly, move early, and never get comfortable anywhere. Survival requires constant movement. When cities decide RV communities are unacceptable, they launch sweeps with police and tow trucks. A sweep means police, sanitation crews, and tow trucks arrive with little notice. Residents are often given 24 to 72 hours to leave, sometimes less than that. Between 2023 and 2026, major U.S. cities conducted over 18,000 encampment and vehicle sweeps, costing taxpayers more than $1.3 billion. Los Angeles alone spends over $90 million per year on cleanup and towing operations targeting vehicle dwellers. If an RV cannot move due to mechanical failure, expired registration, or lack of insurance, it is towed immediately. Storage fees average $80 per day. After 30 days, vehicles are auctioned to the public. Most owners can't pay these fees. Over 70% of towed RVs are never reclaimed by their owners. Everything inside is lost permanently: medications, documents, photos, tools, clothes, and life savings. Some cities now conduct rapid response sweeps without any warning after neighbor complaints. People wake up to flashing lights and tow hooks attached. Studies show that sweeps increase homelessness by 30 to 40% in affected areas. People lose stability, community, connections, and access to services. What is called cleanup is often the destruction of someone's entire life in one morning. For families, this means children lose school access. For seniors, it means losing medical continuity. For everyone, it means starting over from nothing. Cities justify sweeps as enforcing laws, but the human cost is catastrophic and permanent for those who lose everything. For vehicle dwellers, losing an RV is worse than eviction. It is the loss of home, transportation, and survival system all at once. In 2026, over 110,000 RVs and vans are seized annually by municipalities for violations, unpaid tickets, or registration issues, often minor infractions. Common reasons for seizure include expired tags, broken lights, lack of insurance, or unpaid parking fines under $500 total. Once seized, recovery costs pile up extremely fast. Tow fee: $300 to $600 daily storage, $70 to $100 administrative fees, $200 or more. Within just 2 weeks, total fees can exceed $2,000, money most RV dwellers simply don't have. After 30 to 45 days in storage, vehicles are sold at public auction. Many sell for under $5,000, far below replacement cost. Cities profit from auctions. Private towing companies profit from fees. Owners lose everything they owned. Legal aid groups report that only 1 in 4 people ever recovers a seized vehicle successfully. Some municipalities partner with private firms that receive bonuses for removals, creating financial incentives to tow more vehicles regardless of necessity. Without an RV, many people move from vehicle homeless to street homeless overnight with no possessions. This pipeline quietly feeds street encampments and overwhelmed shelters, while officials claim they are simply enforcing rules and maintaining order. The seizure-to-auction system has become a poverty trap that destroys lives while generating revenue. It punishes housing instability instead of addressing it, making escape nearly impossible. Livings in an RV without infrastructure creates constant health risks that compound over time. Most street-parked RVs lack legal hookups: no water, no sewer, no electricity or safe power. Residents rely on generators, propane heaters, and makeshift wiring. This causes fires. Fire departments report a 55% increase in RV-related fires since 2020. Carbon monoxide poisoning is rising steadily. Improper heater use kills dozens each winter nationwide. Sanitation is another growing crisis. Without dump stations, waste disposal becomes dangerous and unsanitary. Overflowing tanks contaminate storm drains and sidewalks. Access to healthcare is severely limited. Many vehicle dwellers lack stable addresses, making insurance and prescriptions difficult to obtain. Emergency rooms become primary care. Rates of respiratory illness, skin infections, and gastrointestinal disease are significantly higher in RV communities compared to housed populations. Mental health suffers dramatically too. Constant fear of eviction, noise, and harassment creates chronic stress. Suicide hotlines report increased calls from vehicle dwellers. Women and seniors face heightened risk. Poor lighting and isolation make assaults more likely. Over 40% of female vehicle dwellers report feeling unsafe at night. Pets often go untreated due to cost, creating additional public health concerns. These communities survive without basic services, something modern America was never designed to handle at scale. The result is preventable suffering and death. People die from heat, cold, fire, and disease, not because solutions don't exist, but because they're denied access to basic infrastructure that could save lives. Extreme weather is now one of the biggest killers of RV dwellers across America. In winter, uninsulated vehicles lose heat extremely fast. Temperatures inside can drop below freezing in just hours. Propane shortages and broken heaters make survival dangerous. During the 2024 to 2025 winter, over 900 homeless-related deaths were linked to cold exposure nationwide. Heat is even deadlier for vehicle dwellers. In summer, RV interiors can reach 130 degrees Fahrenheit within 30 minutes of direct sun. Without air conditioning or shore power, heat stroke becomes inevitable. In 2025, Arizona alone recorded over 1,000 heat-related deaths, many involving vehicle dwellers who had nowhere to go. Climate change is intensifying this danger. Heat waves now last longer. Cold snaps arrive suddenly and unpredictably. Cooling centers and shelters fill quickly and turn people away. Transportation to these centers is limited. Many refuse shelters due to theft and violence concerns. Generators require expensive fuel. Solar panels fail in storms. Batteries degrade and stop working. Each year, more RV dwellers die quietly in parked vehicles, unnoticed until neighbors complain about the smell. Weather has become an invisible executioner that kills without witnesses. For thousands of Americans, surviving is no longer about finding money or work opportunities. It's about surviving the next temperature swing. It's about making it through one more night without freezing or overheating. For many, extreme weather is a death sentence they cannot escape. One of the most hidden parts of the RV homelessness crisis is children living in vehicles. In 2026, school systems report over 1.3 million students experiencing housing insecurity. A growing share of them live in cars, vans, and RVs with families. Many park near schools or workplaces for stability. Parents wake kids at 5 a.m. to find bathrooms and Wi-Fi. Homework happens under dashboard lights. Families often avoid shelters to stay together. Many shelters separate fathers, limit children, or prohibit pets, forcing impossible choices. Living in vehicles affects child development severely. Studies show homeless children are 3 times more likely to repeat a grade and 4 times more likely to drop out entirely. Health suffers dramatically. Missed vaccines, untreated asthma, and poor nutrition are common problems. Some districts now operate mobile student support units, buses that provide meals, counseling, and tutoring to homeless students. Parents hide the truth from teachers. Educators often don't know until a child falls asleep in class or stops attending. Vehicle living also exposes kids to constant instability, moving every few days, avoiding police, fearing tow trucks. This is not temporary hardship for most. Many children spend 2 to 4 years in vehicles during critical development years. A generation is growing up without a real home, and society is barely paying attention to the consequences. These children face trauma, interrupted education, and health problems that will follow them into adulthood. The long-term cost is incalculable. When people lose stable housing, they become extremely vulnerable to predators. RV dwellers are frequent targets of theft, scams, and violence. Police data shows vehicle dwellers experience violent crime at nearly 2 times the national average. Break-ins are common at night. Tools, generators, batteries, and propane tanks are stolen and resold quickly. Scammers target desperate people, offering fake rentals, fake jobs, or safe parking schemes for hundreds of dollars up front. Some areas see organized crime exploiting RV communities, charging protection fees for parking spots or threatening violence. Human trafficking groups also target isolated women and teens living alone. Advocacy groups report rising recruitment attempts near encampments. Elderly residents are especially vulnerable to financial abuse and scams. Reporting crimes is difficult. Many fear police contact will lead to tickets or towing of their only shelter. Informal justice systems form when official help fails. Conflicts escalate. Violence spreads through communities. Over 60% of RV dwellers report being victims of crime within just 2 years of vehicle living. At night, many sleep lightly with weapons nearby. Doors are barricaded. Dogs become security systems. Survival becomes about constant vigilance, not rest or recovery. Without legal protection or stable addresses, communities become dangerous, not because of who lives there, but because of complete abandonment. The most vulnerable Americans are left to fend for themselves against predators who know police won't help. Safety becomes a luxury only housed people can afford. Not all states treat RV homelessness equally. Some have become aggressively hostile. In 2026, enforcement is strongest and most punitive in California, Texas, Florida, Arizona, Oregon, Washington. These 6 states alone account for over 55% of all vehicle-related citations nationwide. California alone issues more than 350,000 RV-related tickets per year to homeless residents. Texas cities have expanded anti-camping laws dramatically after 2023 court rulings allowed stricter enforcement. Florida aggressively enforces coastal parking bans to protect tourism. Arizona criminalizes camping on many public lands previously considered safe. Oregon and Washington conduct frequent sweeps near urban centers and highways. Many states now share data between agencies. Once cited in one city, residents may be tracked regionally across jurisdictions. Some states also restrict safe parking programs, limiting nonprofit efforts to help. Rural areas are becoming hostile too. Counties ban overnight parking on roads and farmland. Crossing state lines no longer guarantees safety from enforcement. Laws are becoming standardized nationwide. Vehicle dwellers now map enforcement zones like weather patterns, planning routes around hostile cities and states. One wrong city or parking choice can mean losing everything: tickets, towing, seizure, and homelessness. The enforcement landscape changes constantly. What was legal last month may be criminalized today. RV dwellers must stay informed to survive checking local ordinances constantly before parking anywhere overnight. People are often told, just go to a shelter instead of living in vehicles. But shelters are completely full nationwide. In 2026, average shelter occupancy exceeds 92% nationwide. In major cities, wait lists stretch months or years. Some shelters turn away dozens of people daily. Rules make many shelters unusable. Curfews, sobriety requirements, limited stays, and bans on pets or couples. For RV dwellers, shelters mean abandoning vehicles, risking immediate towing and total loss. Permanent housing programs are even worse. Housing vouchers cover only 1 in 4 eligible applicants nationwide. Affordable housing construction is far below demand. The U.S. is short over 7 million affordable units. Waiting lists can last 5 to 10 years in major cities. Rapid rehousing often fails quickly. Temporary help doesn't match permanent rent costs. Caseworkers handle hundreds of clients each, making individual attention impossible. The system is collapsing under sheer volume and demand. There is no next step for millions of Americans, only waiting indefinitely. Nonprofits do incredible work but face impossible odds. Funding is limited, demand is infinite. Cities claim to help but provide no real pathway out of vehicle living. The gap between need and resources grows wider every year. For most RV dwellers, there is no housing program coming. There is no shelter bed available. There is no realistic path back to traditional housing. They are stuck, abandoned by systems that were never designed to handle poverty at this scale. This crisis doesn't stay contained to vehicle dwellers. It spreads. When RV communities grow, cities face sanitation, healthcare, and emergency costs. Taxes rise to cover these. Businesses lose reliable workers to housing instability. Hospitals absorb billions in unpaid emergency care annually. Property values fluctuate in affected neighborhoods. Schools struggle with unstable student populations. Tourism declines in areas with visible homelessness. Infrastructure is strained beyond design capacity. Insurance costs rise for everyone. Policing budgets grow instead of prevention programs. Over $25 billion annually is spent managing homelessness, far more than prevention would cost. Middle-class renters are closer to vehicle living than they think. One illness, one layoff, one divorce. Housing insecurity spreads upward into higher income brackets. What happens to RV dwellers today may happen to millions more tomorrow. This is not a fringe issue affecting only others. It is a warning sign of system collapse. Everyone pays the cost through taxes, reduced services, declining communities, and personal risk. The crisis affects property owners, renters, businesses, schools, and hospitals equally. Ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It makes it grow. America's prosperity has always depended on housing stability. When millions cannot secure basic shelter despite working full-time, the entire economic system becomes unstable. What looks like someone else's problem today becomes everyone's crisis tomorrow. If current trends continue unchecked, by 2030, over 5 million Americans may live in vehicles full-time. Street homelessness may double from current levels. Entire parking zones will become permanent encampments. Emergency systems will collapse completely under demand. Cities will spend more on enforcement than actual housing solutions. Families will fragment under pressure. Retirement will disappear for most workers. Young workers will delay starting families indefinitely. Public trust will erode in institutions. A permanent underclass will form without mobility. History shows that housing instability leads to social unrest, public health crises, and economic decline. Every major societal collapse starts quietly with ignored warning signs. This one already has started. The question is not whether change is needed anymore. It is whether it will come in time to prevent total system failure. The longer America waits, the more expensive and difficult solutions become. Preventing homelessness costs less than managing it. Building housing costs less than enforcement. But action requires political will that doesn't exist yet. Meanwhile, more families lose homes daily. More seniors age into poverty. More children grow up unstable. The crisis accelerates while solutions stall. By 2030, this may be irreversible without massive intervention. America faces a choice: invest in housing now or manage permanent mass homelessness forever. There is no middle path. The decision made in the next few years will determine America's future for generations. Time is running out. This crisis isn't happening somewhere else. It's happening right now to real people who were doing everything right and still lost everything. If this story hit close to home, our next video breaks down which cities are becoming impossible to survive in and why. Share what you're seeing where you live in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next.